And so when does someone really need you? Like,
I look at myself as a translator, and the reason I say that is because it's very easy to make something difficult sound difficult. It's very hard to make something difficult sound easy. And so a lot of what happens with me is that I have to help people that have tripped up. I mean, a common example of that today is these new Obamacare rules and how much you have to cover, when you have to cover, and those types of things. And what can happen is people don't really even understand what they're doing, because most of this is done by their broker and they don't really understand what requirements they have to do. And so a lot of what my job is explaining to them, the law says you got to do this or this or this. And I ultimately help educate them as to how they can figure out which choice to make and what the ramifications of each of those choices are.
so let's get into some examples, because you mentioned you love doing examples and giving case studies. So let me get, I'm a new employer, not a new employer. I'm an employer and I have, I don't know, 15 employees, and I want to do a 401k. Is that when I would call you, or how would that work?
Well, sometimes yes. I mean, I prefer that, but that's not always the way it works. See, one of the things that happens in this business is I charge $600 an hour. And when I charge $600 an hour, people think, oh my goodness, and they freak out and they do all this other stuff. But I'm actually quite good at things like advising people on how to draft their plan. Let me use the most common problem that I see in retirement plans to illustrate this. The two extremes are, there are a bunch of employers that don't care about their employees, don't want to give them a penny of retirement. They want to put as much away for themselves and as little as legally possible for their rank and file employees. That's one extreme. The other extreme is they love their employees. They want to take care of their employees. They want to give them a retirement benefit that's good, and that they can retire in a healthy manner when they want to retire. So you look at those two extremes, and I will tell you that 9 out of 10 plans that are out there have the exact same plan design for those two scenarios. Now, that's someone who's not paying attention to what's going on, because the underlying business has a business plan, but they're not drafting a plan document that supports that kind of notion. And so a lot of what I do is I come in after the fact and I try to adjust things. Because the unfortunate thing about those two plan designs that I talked about is most of the time that is a salesperson who's not a lawyer that's been practicing for 40 years, sitting down with an HR professional who's probably not even a licensed professional in HR, and they sit down and they figure out what's the eligibility, what's the vesting, how much can people put in, all of these different really important decisions, but they're being made by a non-C-suite person. So it's kind of interesting that way, but it's very, very common.